Dream Sprout Stories.
Welcome to Dream Sprout Stories, where every story helps us grow. Today our friends Theo, Pip, and their new friend Grit are on another adventure. It's a story about understanding others, making new friends, and showing that there's always a place for everyone. Are you ready? Today's story is The Shadowy Stranger. Sit back, relax, and let's begin our journey together. Episode 5, The Shadowy Stranger. The sun rose over the valley, casting a golden glow across the landscape. Theo and Pip were feeling stronger and braver after their adventure to the Tree of Courage. They had learned that courage was something that came from within, and it made them feel ready for whatever lay ahead. Little did they know, today would bring a new challenge that would test everything they had learned. Pip was bouncing around, as usual, full of energy and excitement. "Theo, let's go explore that area past the big hill. We've never been there before, and who knows what we might find." Theo chuckled, shaking his head. "You never stop, do you, Pip?" "All right, let's do it. But remember, we take it slow and careful." With their gear packed, the two friends made their way toward the area Pip had mentioned. They climbed over the big hill, the valley stretching out behind them as they ventured into new territory. The forest on the other side was dense, with tall trees and thick undergrowth. The air was filled with the scent of fresh leaves and flowers, and the sound of chirping birds echoed around them. As they moved deeper into the forest, they began to notice signs of something unusual. Footprints. Large ones, unlike any they had seen before. Theo knelt down, examining the prints carefully. "Pip, look at these! They're not from any dinosaur we know. They're big and fresh." Pip's eyes widened in excitement. A new friend, maybe, or maybe it's something else entirely. He looked around, his eyes wide with curiosity. Theo frowned, a sense of unease settling in his chest. "We need to be careful, Pip. We don't know who or what made these footprints." Pip nodded, but his excitement was hard to contain. He scampered ahead, following the trail of footprints. Theo followed, his eyes scanning their surroundings for any signs of danger. The forest seemed to grow quieter the further they went, the usual chirping of birds fading into silence. Suddenly, they heard a rustling sound. Theo froze, his eyes darting toward the source of the noise. A shadowy figure moved through the underbrush, its form barely visible among the thick foliage. Theo's heart pounded, and he took a step back, pulling Pip closer to him. "Who's there?" Theo called out, his voice steady despite his racing heart. The rustling stopped, and for a moment there was silence. Then slowly, the figure stepped into view. It was a large dinosaur, taller than Theo, with dark, rugged scales and piercing eyes. The dinosaur looked at them cautiously, its posture tense. Pip blinked, his eyes wide with a mix of awe and curiosity. "Hello, who are you?" he called out, his voice cheerful. The stranger hesitated, its eyes narrowing slightly. "My name is Grit," the dinosaur said, its voice low and guarded. "What are you doing here?" Theo took a step forward, his posture relaxed but alert. "I'm Theo, and this is Pip. We're just exploring. We didn't mean to intrude." He paused, then added, "We saw your footprints and wanted to see who they belonged to." Grit eyed them both, his expression softening slightly. "Exploring, huh? Not many come this far into the forest. It's not exactly a friendly place." Pip tilted his head, his curiosity piqued. "Why not? It seems nice to me." Grit sighed, his shoulders slumping slightly. "Most dinosaurs avoid me. They think I look scary." He looked down, his eyes filled with a mix of sadness and frustration. "I didn't mean to scare you. I just don't have anywhere else to go." Theo's heart ached at the sadness in Grit's voice. He took a step closer, his eyes filled with compassion. "You don't have to be alone, Grit. We know what it's like to be scared, but we've learned that being brave isn't about being fearless. It's about facing your fears, even when it's hard." Pip nodded enthusiastically. "Yeah, and you seem nice to me, Grit. Maybe you could come with us. We're always looking for new friends." Grit looked at them, his eyes widening in surprise. You want me to come with you? Even though I look like this?" Theo smiled, nodding. It doesn't matter what you look like, Grit. What matters is what's inside, and I can see that you're not as scary as you think. Grit's expression softened, and for the first time, a small smile appeared on his face. "Thank you," he said quietly. I'd like that." With their new friend by their side, Theo, Pip, and Grit continued their journey through the forest. The once quiet woods seemed to come alive again, the sounds of birds returning as they walked together. Grit's presence, once intimidating, now felt comforting, and Theo felt a sense of pride in the courage they had shown, not just in facing the unknown, but in reaching out to someone who needed a friend. As the sun began to set, they made their way back to the valley. Pip chatted excitedly, telling Grit all about their past adventures, the glowing cave, the tree of courage, and their friend Luna. Grit listened, his eyes filled with wonder, and Theo couldn't help but smile at the sight of his friends bonding. When they reached the edge of the valley, Theo looked at Grit, his heart full. "You're welcome to stay with us, Grit. There's plenty of room here, and we'd love to have you." Grit nodded, his eyes shining with gratitude. "Thank you, Theo. I think I've finally found a place where I belong." Pip grinned, bouncing on his feet. "This is just the beginning, Grit. There are so many more adventures waiting for us." Theo nodded, looking out at the valley, the sun casting a warm glow over the landscape. He knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they could face them together. Because true courage wasn't about facing danger alone. It was about standing together, helping each other, and finding strength in friendship. Thank you for joining us on this adventure with Theo, Pip, and Grit. We hope you enjoyed their journey and learned something along the way. Remember, whether it's facing fears, discovering something new, or making a new friend, there's always an adventure waiting for us. Be sure to come back for more stories with Theo, Pip, and their friends. There's always more to explore and discover here at Dream Sprout Stories.
Thank you for listening. Subscribe for more stories.